Yeah, hi. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to our LinkedIn live chat on product marketing. And my name is Kaustubh Patekar. I'm the founder of ProdZen. We are a product management and strategy consulting company. And I'm joined by Diptarup, Dipto for short, whom I've known for some time, and he's a product marketing expert. He's led marketing, he's been the CMO, he's helped scale several software as a service companies. So I'm excited to welcome Dipto. Hi, Dipto.
Thank you. Hi.
So go ahead, please.
Hi. So I am Diptarup Chakraborti, but since, as you know, it's a mouthful, so I've been called Dipto right from the first day of work at work, and 20 years back. So if you have kind of looked at my LinkedIn profile, I have about 20 plus years experience, and most of them in tech marketing. In fact, I think all of them in tech marketing. I have worked with large companies like IBM and Gartner, and mid-size enterprises like Majesco, and also smaller SaaS enterprises like Zycus, presently with Kairos, and then with LNT NXT also in between. So my journey as a marketer has been, I've seen the world of non-digital, I've seen the growth of digital, I've seen the advancement of digital marketing, and obviously I have been part of SaaS journey right from its inception. And I believe that I firmly believe that product marketing is more important than any other kind of marketing in SaaS, and that's where the discussion will be over here.
Okay, great. Yeah. I'm going to catch you right there on the first one, that product marketing is very important. Well, I'm going to start off with why not the product, right? So I've been a product manager all my career. And before that, I was a developer. So let's take it sort of head on. How important is the product versus how important is the marketing? What is your take on that? Shouldn't the product sell itself?
See, Bill Bernbach, an advertising guru, had said that nothing kills a bad product like great advertising. What it means is that great advertising will get the person to the product. He will perhaps buy it, and then he'll see the product sucks, and he will never come back again. Right? Similarly, a product is has to be good first. Without that, marketing cannot do anything. Marketing can only kill the product. So if the product is not the hero, then marketing cannot be the hero either. The product is more important.
Sure, sure. No, I think that's a great point. That of course, the product needs to stand for itself and provide value, which kind of brings us to the original idea. Well, if the product does provide value, then why does the customer not want to buy it? Is it because they don't care, they're too busy, or I mean, what gives?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and perhaps the theme of this discussion. The customers by nature is driven by inertia. They are they have the inertia to be happy with what they have, even though they don't. Perhaps they are not. They are not designed to look for alternatives. It is some push which comes, okay, and even if that push comes, it is what is obvious is what they're looking for. So for example, if they have a air purifier, unless that air purifier really goes bad, they are actually not looking for an alternative, right? So that's the inertia that all customers are in, and it is marketing's job. Okay, product marketing is a function of marketing. It's marketing's job to make them aware that, look, there are better alternatives to solve your problem. There are better alternatives to make your life easier. The life that you're leading is perhaps not the best, and obviously you don't tell it in such a in that way. And that's why marketing is important, to shift that inertia and make them wake up to that reality.
Excellent. I like the way you explained it. That inertia is probably the biggest challenge. Not so much the product or what you are saying, but people actually need to draw the attention. Which I think brings us to an interesting question. What is product marketing? I mean, why is that different from overall marketing and just communication and branding? When does one need product marketing, and why should one bother to actually do product marketing and product marketing instead of just brand building and spend a bunch of money on ads and tell that people we are here?
See, that's Kaustubh, I love this question that you asked. Why need product marketing? See, if you ask, if you go to a typical SaaS marketing organization, the first function that they build is the demand generation function. Okay, and that cannot give you the right output without product marketing. So first, let me define quickly for what is product marketing. Product marketing actually is a voice of the product in the market. So product has certain features which, given a voice, becomes benefits, right? For example, a feature could be it integrates with SAP. What it does is, what is the benefit is that it makes your job faster. Making it very simple, obviously. So that's the essential job of product marketing, right? To make the customer know that, look, I have certain features of the product which can make your life easier. Otherwise, they will not know. So what product marketing does is that it gives arms to the product, makes them makes the customer want to engage with the product, makes the customer want to seek more information about the product. And this is why product marketing is so important. Obviously, it translates into a lot of outcomes like collaterals, content, participation in events, perhaps data sheets and all that stuff, which we normally think is product marketing. Yes, they are, but essentially, if you explain it to a 12-year-old kid, product marketing is gives the voice of the product to in the market. That is what product marketing is.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for taking the time to define it. I think I'd like to pick up on one thing you said, which is, can you explain it to a 12-year-old? And some people would say, can you explain it to a 6-year-old? So the key challenge for a lot of technology products is to be able to simplify it, right? Not just the language, but actually be able to tell people what is it that they are doing, and of course, like you said, describe the benefits. So how do you actually simplify your message or your overall product marketing when a lot of people are working on very complex technology products, and sometimes touting the technology, whether it's deep tech, whether it's AR, whether it's VR, that seems to take front and center. uh, I mean, what do you think of that? How does one simplify the message in a situation like that?
See, see, as a marketeer, marketing at the end of the day is about psychology, right? You play with the human mind, and not in a negative way, but you play with the human mind to instill certain benefits and messages, which makes them respond to what you are going to say. That's the marketing, right, or whatever. So, what product marketing does, if you have to simplify the message, right? So, understand what is the first of all, understand what is the customer looking when he looks for a solution like the product that you're selling, right? Because what is a product basically is a solution to a problem. That is why it's called a product, and it is standardized to an extent so that you don't have to make build for every person individually, right? So when you want to simplify a message, first see that what is the problem. And people will use things like pain points and what is this, what is it that is struggling with. Okay, let me give you an example. Supposing I want to, my team wants to know the performance of all marketing campaigns and the numbers that it is getting. Now the data is coming from different sources, so the CMO is struggling to get the numbers at a point of a button, at a click of a button. He's struggling. So I have this tool which says that, look, click a button, know how your marketing team is performing. Click a button, know how your marketing team is performing. He knows that this in present scenario is not possible. Okay, so to simplify the message, the best way to know is keep asking the customer, put yourself in the point of the customer and keep asking. Okay, you know the product, why should they buy, what is the problem that I'm solving? Once you start answering this question on your own and then verifying it through, obviously, some kind of a survey or depth research, whatever you call it, or talking to customers, you will know that how you will simplify the message. And then obviously those words like seamless and integrated and all that stuff will keep coming, so you cannot avoid that. But that's how you simplify. Did I take too much time?
No, I think that's fine. We'll see as the audience questions come in. But I like the idea that of course, we need to go back to the customer, understand their pain before we can communicate. Um, and I'd like to pick up on something which you said earlier, that when a company starts their overall marketing function, they start with demand generation, right? So often when we work with startups, and I'm sure you've been part of some. The founder or the CEO will say, well, I don't really need marketing. Give me a website and then give me a way to get some leads, and then I'll go sell the product. I mean, is that fine, or do you see a challenge with that? Right, a lot of companies are only building presence and then they just want to sell. What do you think is the challenge with that?
I mean, that is fine if you are the only person, only organization selling in the market. You are not going to be the only organization selling. In any category, there are 50 to 100 companies you're competing with, right? You, as a startup, you have limited budgets. You cannot outspend a Microsoft or a SAP, right? So what is it that you do? You cannot do away from this. So what you do is tightly define your audience. See how clearly you can create your messages. Create great designs. That is also part of product marketing. I mean, look, one of the thing is that I'm saying that why can't you use humor in your messaging, right? Business to business communication is completely devoid of humor. Humor does not mean you have to be Seinfeld. So my point is that if you are going to be in a market where there is so much competition, you have to stand out not by your feature, because that can be copied overnight. Okay, you're not a consumer product company. Yeah, okay, that can be copied overnight. What you have to do is that, and most of the time you will be a me too in the market. You will be another product company selling that same product. If you have created a separate product category, then again a different story. But if you are in that situation, you have to tell something which will make them sit up and take notice, and you have to tell them in a way which will first of all tell them something which will make them notice, and secondly tell them in a way which will make them notice. So this is all product marketing. And how can you say that you avoid product marketing and go for demand generation? Because you send out the message, hey, buy, 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 nobody's listening to you. Moment you focus on product marketing, people are starting listening to you. Same thing, right? You want people to listen. The beginning of demand generation is to make people to listen. Product marketing will make them listen to you.
I love that definition, and I also like the part that you emphasize that it's important, first to get people's attention, draw their attention, and then the way you draw their attention and what you communicate and how you communicate, all of that matter, right?
Yes.
So I think which brings us to an interesting question, sort of related to the last comment you made, that it doesn't matter what product or technology solution you're offering. There will be 10 others or perhaps 50 others and maybe even 100, depending on the kind of space you're targeting, right? So one part is to, of course, to stand out, through your messaging. Certainly some amount of standing out can happen through your capabilities. It will always be a combination of that. Now, that being said, that sounds like a lot to do. So how does one manage doing all this on a limited budget or without, because a lot of your competition is going to be big companies, right? So whether you're a startup or you're a small to mid-sized company, how do you take on a large company when they can probably spend, 20, 50, 100, or even 1,000 times more than you? I mean, how do you do product marketing in a situation like that? Any
Yeah.
thoughts,
So
ideas?
when you start up, when you have no customer whatsoever and you're starting up, okay, I would say that look, create a messaging sheet, or I'm calling it a messaging sheet, but basically, this have okay. What I would do is get all the people that are there who know the product in your organization, get few prospective customers who perhaps can be your customers in future, thrash out in detail a lot of brainstorming. Maybe just that one day you find out and get the answers to this question: why should they buy from you, and what will I need to do to make them buy from you? Trust me, 99% of the companies in this stage do not do that. 99, maybe 99.9% they do not do that. Why should they buy from you, and what should I do to buy from you? Once you do that, then it gets articulated in your sheets and your documentations and your reports. Those are, and when you have that, that give it to a very good copywriter. Get, and I'm talking now in execution terms, give it to a very good copywriter, create certain advertising assets. Advertising asset means I'm saying that translate your benefit statement into messaging. Messaging is basically more easily understandable benefit statements using easily understandable English, if I can make it more easily comprehensible to the audience over here, and then go into the market. That is what I would do. And then when you ask this question, how do I make them understand why should they buy, you will also be able to understand, identify which is the best channel for you to use. Once you know that, then you start experimenting with your marketing and people will respond. You don't have to spend media budgets. Please don't misunderstand me. In the beginning, I would advise you not to spend any media budgets, but you just have this message in your FAQ sheets, for example, when you call up someone. That itself is 90% of the job done.
Yeah, I like your thought process. I think is to, of course, not blow too much money, but get your messaging right. What is it that you're articulating, the value, the benefits, get that right first. Sit down, refine it, and then start pushing it out. And certainly, it can be pushed out one on one over calls, over meetings, and so on. Which I think brings us to an interesting point which you made is messaging, right? So you described it as kind of simplifying your overall value into messages, and then perhaps putting it in plain English or whichever language you're using to really simplify that right now. And that's where sometimes there are challenges because people end up using big words, right? Because big words sound important. I think you alluded to some of those: seamless, integrated, best in the world. So, I mean, is there a place for such words? That's one question. But more importantly, I mean, how does one simplify the message? What is that process of going from a complex product to actually arriving at a simple message? I think you talked a little bit about that earlier. But what is the actual execution process? How do I start breaking things down? I think we'd love to hear on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with an example. If you've seen the latest Freshworks ad, it says ridiculously simple software, okay, which is easily understandable. They have not used seamless, integrated, or any such words over. So, first, a question answer to your question: you don't actually need to use the word, but not many people are confident of avoiding these words. Okay, given an option, maybe I will also go with it. Okay, so my way of doing it is that you have what is your main job is to stand out, right? What how do you stand out is to write in a way that others are not writing. So if I'm talking about analytics, okay, and I can say that look, I can write something like I can get to know, say for example, marketing analytics. I can get to know which campaign is performing better in a few seconds. That's a simple way of saying that crunching data, making great dashboards, making reports. Ultimately, that's what you are wanting. So, what is the ultimate benefit you will get is what you should focus on. After all the seamless integration and um, they will anyway ask those questions in your demos and all that stuff. After all those seamless integrations and best in class software and AI enabled activities and all the stuff, it results in an output which is what your customer is buying. Articulate that output. See, and that output thinking is not easy. That is where marketing creativity comes in. If you give me an example of a product I can think of, say for example, if I say something like monday.com, right? Monday.com is a project management software. I would say that if I were to talk to a CMO, know exactly what your team is doing without having ever to go to office, because that's the way you manage the tool. I know it sounds I'm thinking article I will perhaps make it a little bit less controversial, but that's the main output of monday.com. It gives you a complete screenshot of what your team is doing at what time and what is on time, what is delayed. That is, and the CMO does not have to or the head does not have to tear his hair to know that. So that is how I would articulate.
Yeah, I love the way you described it and both the examples, on simplifying the message. And sometimes it may not be really about describing the product, but perhaps what it eliminates, right? Or, like the one ridiculously simple software, so it's not really getting into describing the features and capabilities. And of course, it can take a lot of effort to arrive at such simple messaging. So you may see only a few words, but it may take you quite a while to arrive at that. And you'll see that often in companies. Initially they start with longer messages, and over time they sort of understand the market better, and the messages get refined, and then eventually it's just a few lines or sometimes just a few words, right? So I think that is fascinating, how better marketing could be about less. So I think that's very interesting. I think we have, before we started this, there were some questions that came from people. So I think we've covered a lot of those questions, in terms of how you refine your message, how you, start off. I'd like to pose one question which we often run into, which is, at what stage of my company's size, or product size do I start building a product marketing team? And I mean, who's my first
Well,
hire?
I
That would
would not.
probably be a last question. Yeah.
Again,
Go ahead.
Kaustubh, many people perhaps will won't like the answer. I would first go with the first. My first marketing hire, internal, would be a product marketing guy. Everything else can be outsourced in the beginning of your journey, but the product marketing guy is something I would not outsource. The product and brand guys I will never outsource, because they are the heartbeat of your organization. They know the product, and you're selling a product, right? So, like just like in a consumer company, the marketing guys are never outsourced. They are always higher, whereas the sales is they use channels to do that, right? Which is in a sense it's outsourced. So though they have the internal sales, but you got the difference, right? So my first hire would be a product marketing guy, not a demand generation guy. Because why? Because my responses to my demand generation campaigns will be better with the product marketing guy in place. Till that time, I can hire a demand generation guy as a second hire. I would outsource my marketing campaigns.
Okay, excellent. I like the answer, and I understand the way you emphasize the importance of product marketing and not just the demand gen part. I think we are almost out of time. So, thank you everyone for joining. Feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn. I think it was very interesting, and I especially like the part about getting the message simple, and not just the simplification of the message, but how you deliver it, to really wake up your customer and shake them out of the inertia. And thank you very much, Dipto, for joining
Thank you.
us. Appreciate you taking the time to answer all the questions. Any parting words before we wrap up?
Yeah, product marketing is a new part of SaaS journey. It's not more than 5 to 6 years old at max. Many organizations still don't have one function, but that will make your marketing far more impactful than without product marketing.
Okay, excellent. I think that brings us to the end of our session today. We will be conducting more such sessions, really focused on how to grow your product business. And this was our kickoff session. And thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.